Hey, Maritza. I got you when this ends. Hey, Ingris. Hope y'all are well tonight. All right. So it is 8 o'clock on the dot. And welcome to Living Out Loud with Lady Laura over lattes, laughter, and life. Yeah. So, yep, I got you. And we are grateful. You know, God is just amazing. He always, always, always gives you what you need when you need it. And I'm laughing because I had already had the lesson planned from talking with Tony yesterday and Sunday because we're in Joshua, right? Hey, Bunny. And we're in Joshua. But today's devotional, or yesterday's devotional, where it's if you have the Reverend Garnett devotional from New Covenant up north, today's devotional is right on time. So we are happy to see all of you. And I'm on Joshua still from lessons from the conference. So the conference was Saturday, all day Saturday, and we ended at 4 o'clock, a little bit before 4 o'clock. And I was scared. I'm going to be honest with you all that I was afraid. And so Sunday's message from me was about Joshua and how God was with Joshua and he's with us. And that's not just, hey, Evelyn and hey, Gwen. It's not just about God being with us in the Old Testament. He's with us now. He's with us. He's never going to leave us or forsake us. He promised forsake us. He promised Joshua and he promised Moses. And so now I want us all to remember that he's not going to forsake us either. And so let me say this, that when you wait on God, I don't know who this is for. I've got a couple of girlfriends who we have written books these last couple of things. Hi, Charles Beavers. We will pray for her. We will. He is ever present. Exactly. And sometimes we think that he's not here or he's forgotten us, and he hasn't. And then my new prayer to God is surprise me. And when he has done that, he has done just that. He has surprised me. So today, let me tell you guys before we get started so that you know, don't be afraid. Be courageous and be strong, be brave because God is with you. So today I got a call from my agent. She has her own TV show on HSBN Network. So that's Holy Spirit Broadcasting Network. And it's a Christian station. And so we're so excited because what has happened, keep on doing. This is for everyone. Whatever God wants you to do, keep on doing it. Whatever he tells you to do it afraid because he has the power and he's the only one who has the power to make it happen for you. So let me tell you this quick story before I get into the lesson. Today I was on Sharon's television show, A Life That Matters on HSBN, and we have kind of moved over. We didn't know. Pastor talked about it last night and on Sunday or Monday when he did it. Of course, Charles Beavers, we will. And on that particular time, Tony said, start watching the Bible study and things and church on the television. And so I haven't really been looking at our YouTube or anything, but her show, we've been talking about our adult kids. And do you know that we have garnered like 1.1 thousand, so 1,100 viewers for the shows we've been doing about kids. Look at God. Nobody could have done that. I don't know. I know people, but I don't know people. Not like that. So I'm just telling you, whoever that is for tonight, do what God told you to do. Just do what God told you to do. And when you pray, don't pray amiss. Tony got on me about that because I've been praying amiss. I'm like, God surprised me. But in the meantime, I haven't been believing. I haven't been trusting. I'm just like, here we go. No, I told Cledra, this is really, really hard, more than I ever imagined. But I am thanking God for how he is just a good, good father. And even he knows what you need even before you do. And sometimes when you're discouraged, you're down, you're whatever, he has to come in and send you a human so that you'll know I'm with you. I'll never leave you. I'll never forsake you. So listen here. This is so good tonight, y'all. It says you have to walk out the process. This is the lesson I learned from Sunday and Wednesday. This is the lesson I learned. The book of Job has 42 chapters. Okay? Walk out the process. You have to walk out the process. Listen carefully, y'all. You have to walk out the process. You are not, I don't know who this is for. You are not going to be just, he can do a suddenly. Don't get it twisted. God can do a suddenly. You can blow up overnight. But know that there's a process that you have to walk the walk. You have to walk through with God. Okay. The book of Job has 42 chapters. In the first 41 chapters, Tony preaches this all the time, Job experienced the loss of his health, his wealth, his family. His health, his wealth, and his family. Over and over again, he questioned God, but got only silence for an answer. But he kept walking with God. Important, he kept walking with God and said, when he has tested me, I shall come forth as gold. New King James Version says as pure gold. Job 23:10. NIV just says gold. Notice three things. Okay, here's the three things that I'm gonna read it to you, but then we're gonna talk about it. And I need you to pay attention. Okay, Job 23:10. First, to become gold, you have to go through the fire. In order to become gold, you have to go through the fire. In order to become gold, you have to go through the fire. Second, the degree of heat and the amount of time required is determined by the refiner. And who is the refiner? I'll wait. God. God determines how long you have to stay in the fire. Get the lesson. Get the lesson so you can get out of the fire. But guess what? He determines how long you are going to be in the fire. Thirdly, when you try to rush the process, you want me to raise both hands? When you try to rush the process, you end up with a substance lesser in value. Oh, did you hear that? When you rush the process, you end up with a substance lesser in value. Wow. What is it like? 10. Not gold, but you get 10. Okay. God told Joshua, this is from last night, and this is from Sunday. God told Joshua, I will give you every place you set your foot. In other words, to get what I have promised you, you must walk out the process. American poet C.V. White wrote, the man who succeeds never waits for a crowd. The man who succeeds never waits for a crowd. He strikes out for himself. Now, here's the part I want y'all to hear. Write it down. It takes nerves. It takes a lot of grit. But the man that succeeds has both. Success is the accomplishment of which people think can't be done. Success is when something happens that you said can't be done. That was Saturday, where I was speaking in front of those people at the small ministry conference, the women's small. Okay. All right. Complacency, fatigue, doubt, criticism, and discouragement are everyday obstacles, everyday hurdles you must constantly overcome. And how do you do that? You keep on walking. How do you do that? You don't quit. I don't know who wants to quit right now. Don't quit. Don't quit. How do you do that? You keep on walking. You don't quit. You will notice a common thread throughout the Bible. I'm rushing through this because I'm just so excited. When you really need him, when you really need God, he shows up. He shows up and does for you what you can't do for yourself. When you really need him, he shows up for you and he does for you what you can't do for yourself. Because you're not going to take the credit. When God does the suddenly and the miraculous and the phenomenal, you can't take credit for it. It's God. The rest of the time, which is most of the time, he strengthens you and says, you have to walk out the process. And that's the word for today. Walk out the process. So here's the lesson. Most of the time, that was absolutely true. Think about it. I want y'all to think about it. How often do we do things on our own? How often do we do it on our own? We just think, oh, we can do it. We can handle it. Or here's for my writer friends. I'm not calling any names because there's a whole bunch of us, including myself. This is how I used to think. You are not going to get the bestseller doing it by your own means. There are a lot of things that you're not going to be able to do doing it on your own. You have to go through God. You have to walk with God. You have to walk through the process. You are not going to just do it overnight, because what happens is your value is less than pure gold. It's going to be like 10, T-I-N, 10. You need to do it God's way. So for 41 chapters, so however any of you, how old any of you are, I'm 57. So for 57 years, if I'm honest, I've been trying to do it myself. So we've been trying to get a hit show. Or you know how you if you've written a book, or you're writing a book, or you want to write a book, here's the thing about the world, that they just forget about God. You think, okay, I have a publicist, or I have an agent, or I'm doing it myself, I have a platform, I'm doing all this stuff, and you know my book's going to be famous, or I'm going to be famous, or whatever. No. God. Who am I talking to? You not doing this, and neither is your publicist. Let's stop right there. And neither is your agent. Whatever God has for you. Remember, I read to you, I said, how long you stay in the fire is up to the refiner. How long you stay in the fire, because you know, in order to be pure gold, you have to go through the fire. So for those of us who are thinking, okay, we're just going to reach the masses and we're going to tell all the world about Jesus, and we're going to have a #1 bestseller, we're going to have a #1 paper, we're going to be whatever we think that we're going to be, it's not going to happen unless God himself, did I say that? Hear me. Unless God himself says, this is how it's going to go. When we were on the show, Sharon and I were just bantering back and forth, talking, having a conversation about our kids. Remember, y'all were with me when Tony and I went and did the great college drop-off tour and dropped off 3 of the 4 kids at college. Who has 3 kids in college at the same time? Do you know how much money that costs? Money that we don't have, but God. But God. We can't do this on our own. Tony and I are not doing this on our own. So that's when he said to me, no wonder you're talking about be strong, be courageous. I don't know what you thought I was going to say tonight, but in order to get the lesson, because in order to get the lesson, in order to go to the next level, you have to go through the fire so that you can be pure gold. But if you rush the process, if you try to go too fast, if you try to do it your way, guess what? You're going to come out like tin, T-I-N. That's cheap metal. And I don't know about you, I don't want to be cheap metal. I want to do what God told me to do. Period. So stop thinking that you are going to do this on your own, because you're not. We talked about this on Sunday night and last night. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not to your own understanding. In all your ways, acknowledge him, and he, as in God, will direct your path. All right. So let's say that in the Living Bible version, because that's my favorite right now, because it talks to me. I'm talking to you. We're going to talk humanly. Okay. Sometimes we can do NIV. Sometimes we can do King James Version, and we can get, ooh, holy good high, right? No, I need you to be just you. And here it is. In everything you do, put God first. In everything you do, put God first. In everything you do, put God first. He will direct you, he'll lead you, and then he will crown your efforts with success. Now, in the meantime, while you're doing your efforts, while you're going through the fire, guess who determines how long you stay in the fire? I'm talking to myself. I may not be talking to y'all. Okay, fine. I'm talking to myself because I'm telling Tony, I am ready to get to the next level. In order to get to the next level, I got to be lined up with God. I got to be in his will. I have to be listening to him. Remember Matthew 5 or 17, 1 through 5. Matthew 17, 1 through 5. You got to go somewhere and sit down and pray and trust in God and shut your mouth. Like, listen, then move forward. And then you move forward how God tells you to move forward. And then in the meantime, Joshua's, Mosesettes, this is what you have to do. You have to know that you know that you know that God is with you. He'll never forsake you. He'll be with you. He'll never leave you. And he is going to give you what he promised you. Look at here. In Joshua, it says, God made two kinds of promises to Joshua and Israel, physical and spiritual. Both look back to God's pledge to give Abraham land, posterity, and spiritual blessings. Let me go all the way down. The promise. God made a promise. Okay, Moses didn't get to go over across the land. He didn't get to go over to Canaan. He didn't get to go to the promised land, but Joshua did. Joshua was the new leader, and Joshua was kind of scared. He wanted wisdom, and God said, I'm giving it to you. In the meantime, he says, what am I going to do, God? He says, look, my servant Moses is dead, but you're next. You're the new leader, and I'm going to be with you just like I was with Moses, and I'm never going to leave you. I'm never going to forsake you. And look, here's the promise. The promise is not only in Joshua, y'all. The promise is also in Matthew 28:20. He says, look at here. You are going to be, look, he'll be with you. I don't care how much money you get. He'll be with you. He'll be with you. He'll be with you. Matthew 28:20. Look it up. And then Hebrews 13:5 says, I'll be with you till the end of the age. I'm never going to leave you. So in the New Testament, not just to Joshua, but God is promising you, me. He made a promise. And he said, this is what I'm going to do for those who believe in me. It says, one, God will always be with you. Be confident in this. Be strong, be courageous. Know that God is with you, just like he's with the Israelites, just like he was with the Reubenites. Listen here, the Reubenites were the fighters, the warriors who had already got their stuff. That's from Sunday and last night. If you go to Joshua 1, actually go to Deuteronomy 34, read that last part, and then go right into Joshua. Listen, believe that God is with you no matter what you do, but what you do has to be in line with God. Here we go. 3 things. 1, first, to become gold, you have to go through. I don't like what I'm having to go through. Let me back up. I got a call today from my agent before I went to do her TV show. And she says to me, you and the other authors, y'all need to get on the marketing bandwagon. And you need to start marketing that book. And I'm like, wow. okay. I was already, in the throes of it, but now I had already talked to God about it. But guess what? You have to go to God. I do have a coach, a business coach, Cledra, who is working it out for me, teaching me, talking to me. I don't know who y'all need one. She's absolutely phenomenal. But in the meantime, guess what? You got to do the work. You got to walk. You got to walk through the process. You are not, I don't know who I'm talking to. You're not going to have this platform, this ginormous platform overnight. Talking, speak, Laura. Same thing with the weight. That's for me and Gwen and some of y'all. You not, unless you have a disease or something, you're not going to lose like 40 pounds overnight. You have to put in the work. You have to walk through the process. You have to put in the work. You have to put in the work. You have to walk through it. Right? And number two, I love this part. You don't determine how long you're going to be in the process. You don't get to determine how long you're going to be in the fire. That's the refiner's job. That's God's job, not yours. He determines how long you have to stay in the fire. Now, here's the other thing about God. You got to stay in the fire until you get the lesson. Boom. You got to stay in the fire until you get the lesson. It took Job 41 chapters. It took Job 41 chapters, really 41, almost 42, because it was 42 and 10 that Job says, I'm going to pray for the captivity of my friends. I'm going to pray for my friends. And when he did that, God gave him double for his trouble. So how long you going to be in the fire? How long you going to have to be in the fire to get the lesson? How long? How long you got to sit there and be in the fire burning up so that you can be gold and not tin? I love it. Do you know sometimes you have to say, God, I trust you. But when I read Joshua 1, it says, after the death of Moses, the servant of the Lord said to Joshua, son of Nun, so put your name there, said to Laura, Gwen, Maritza, Ingris, Charles Beavers, Phoebe. God says your name. And he says, Moses, my servant, is dead. Now then, you and all these people get ready to cross the Jordan River into the land I'm about to give you. And then he says, verse 3, here's the process. I will give you every place where you set foot, as I promised Moses. Your territory will extend from the desert to the great sea, past the river the Euphrates. 5, no one will be able to stand up against you all the days of your life. Put a pin there. That's for me. Guess what? If God opens the door for you, no man will be able to close it. And if he closes an opportunity for you, I don't care how many publicists, I don't care how many agents, I don't care how much money you have, it ain't going to open back up. I don't care how much you think it's going to be a bestseller, it's not. God has to be in it, and you have to walk through the process. If he gives you a suddenly, hallelujah. But if he doesn't, walk through the process. No one will be able to stand up against you all the days of your life. God is with you. No one will be able to stand up against you. When God is with you, he's got your back, your front, and both sides, right? And then He says, as I was with Moses, so I will be with you. I will never leave you nor forsake you. I will never leave you nor forsake you. 6, be strong. Be courageous. Be strong. Sometimes you have to say that to yourself. I don't care. I was afraid Saturday at that conference, but I did it. Be strong. Be courageous, for God is with you. Be strong. Be courageous. And I'm going to beat this until we all get it. I'm going to say this next week too. Be strong and be courageous, for God is with you. It says, be strong and courageous, because you will lead these people to inherit the land I swore to the forefathers to give them. 7, be strong and very courageous. He reiterates it. Be strong and very courageous. Be careful to obey all the law my servant Moses gave you. Do and then you will be successful wherever you go. Don't turn from the left or right. So whatever God has told you, and the lessons, the law, be obedient to what God has told you. You can't be a disgrace. You can't be not doing what God told you to do. You can't be being not obedient and then think he's just going to say, oh, great, here we go. No, it doesn't work that way. No, I'm getting excited. No, it doesn't work that way. But he did promise you he's never going to leave you or forsake you. He did promise that. He did promise that. The thing is, you have to do your part. Don't look to the left or the right. Be strong, be courageous. Then he says, be strong and be very courageous. Do you know it takes courage to be a believer? Because there are things God wants us to do that the world thinks is just ridiculous, or the world thinks it's funny or fuddy-duddy. But guess what? When you obey his commandments, guess what? You are on the right path and things go much smoother for you. Last one. It says, be strong and courageous. Verse 9, my favorite. Have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. This is for you, because this is for me. Do not be afraid. Do not be terrified. Do not be discouraged. Some days you think, how come, God? How come it's not going as fast as I thought? How come it's not going as fast as I want? How come things aren't happening like I thought they would, or I felt they should? He says to you, I'm going to be with you wherever you go. Number 1, you're going to have to go through the fire, whether you want to or not. You're going to have to go through. On Saturday, I have a masterclass. Remember, and I'm just going to be transparent and honest with you so you'll understand. With any type of business or whatever you set out to do for God, expect hurdles, obstacles, and pushback. Expect hurdles, obstacles, pushback, and haters. Expect it. Okay? Expect it. Number 1, remember I told you I did the first masterclass. Nobody showed up. Well, yes, Phoebe came, but nobody showed up. Okay? Then the second class is Saturday, and I have 2. And I am so grateful for those 2, because it's 2 more than I had. And then on Saturday, we also had a whole bunch of women. The small church ministry, the women's conference, had about 2,200 people signed up. I think she said 2,500, and about 900 were online Saturday. And even though I said, God, I don't know if I'm cut out for this, he's like, just tell how good I am and what I've done for you and what I did for the women of New Covenant and how y'all came together, because we are in the midst of taming our tongue. We're going through the fire, and how long we stay in the fire is dependent upon the refiner, and the refiner is God. So you're not going to get out of nothing until he says you're ready. However long you're in the fire is also dependent upon you. Are you going to obey God or not? Are you going to whine or not? Are you going to say, well, how come I'm not like this or not? Or I'll have somebody else do the work for me. No. I wrote the book. I had to do the work. And now I have to talk about the book. That's me. That's on me. That's on me and God. Now I'm going to ask some of y'all to help, but that's on me and God. Basically, it's on God. Whoever he wants to hear it, he's going to make it happen. Right? You're going to have to do the work, y'all. You're going to have to walk through the process. You're going to have to do the work. You're going to have to do the work. Stop kidding yourself and thinking that you're not. You're going to have to do the work. You're going to have to do the work. Number one, you're going to walk it out. Walk through the process. Number two, you're going to go through the fire. Number two, you're going to go through the fire. And number three, how long you're in the fire is dependent upon the person who's the refiner. And that is God. But he's telling you while you're going through the fire, while you're walking out through the process, that he loves you. He's with you. He's never going to leave you. So what's your part? Be strong and be courageous. Be strong and be very courageous, for God is with you. He'll never leave you. He'll never forsake you. And of course, here's the end. Proverbs 3:6. In everything you do, Charles Beavers, in everything you do, Maritza Neal, in everything you do, Ingris, everything you do, Gwen, everything you do, Phoebe, everything you do, Tony Simon, Laura Simon, put God first. Put God first in everything you do. He will lead you. And then he'll crown your efforts with success. We were just doing what God told us to do on Living a Life That Matters, Living Out Loud with Lady Laura. And he honored us with lots of views, lots of subscribers. Just wow. Wait on God. Be of good courage. Psalms 37:4. Delight yourself in the Lord, and he will give you the desires of your heart. My desire is that I tell folks how good my God is. And I think he's pleased with that. And so for all of you, whatever God has told you to do, whatever fire you are in right now, walk it out. Walk through it. In your heart and in your mind, know that you're going to be in the fire for as long as the refiner wants you to be. But while you're in the fire, just like Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, just like Moses, just like Joshua, you got to know that God is with you. He'll never leave you. He'll never forsake you. Be strong. Be courageous. God will never leave you. And he'll never forsake you. That's what I got out of Joshua 1. Check it out. Talk to yourself. Be strong. Be courageous. And have an amazing weekend. See you at the Black History Parade on Saturday in Anaheim. Good night. Good night.